Hey everyone, welcome to RevTrevNFL, and I hope you're doing well because today we're going to be talking about the NFL draft. There is so much to talk about. Now, it's mostly around one or two or three or four teams, and I want to zone in on what the Minnesota Vikings are thinking or should do. And so today I want to dive into this conversation regarding what if the Vikings draft right? What if they draft right? And as you can see, there's a picture of JJ McCarthy there. And so we're going to get into that conversation. And so I do want to talk about it. Now, as you can see, I'm a Packers fan, but I love talking about the NFL. I love talking about the draft. I try to have realistic, unbiased takes. I try my best to keep my fandom low, especially when I'm talking about other teams. But you know, it is what it is. NFC North, I think, is going to be one of the best, if not the best, division in football next year. I think every team is going to make big improvements. I think the only one that's questionable, in my opinion, is the Minnesota Vikings. And so there's really polarizing opinions when it comes to Minnesota. Either you really think that they're gonna make the right decisions and improve, or you just think they're gonna be dog breath. Like, that's exactly how people are viewing it. Now, it's usually Minnesota Vikings fans that are very optimistic, and maybe so. Maybe they are going to be amazing and phenomenal and all those kind of things, but I'm unsure on what they're going to do. Totally, but I do think that they might be better than everyone says they are. And I want to show you why, because really when it comes to their team, right? When it comes to their team, let me just show you, where is it here? Minnesota Vikings. Here we go. So just bring this up. Get this stuff off here. Who cares? We don't care about that, right? We don't care about these things. Okay, so if you look at this team, like, loaded with talent on the offensive end, I was a big person of looking at this roster and saying that they had to keep Kirk Cousins. I know many Vikings fans were polarized in this decision, and I do think that the decision to move on from Kirk was definitely a financial decision. What he got in Atlanta is absolutely insane, everyone. Absolutely insane how much money he got. And I think that's why the Minnesota Vikings were like, he's injured. I don't know what week he's going to be back. Maybe week 4 he might be back. And we don't want to spend all that money on him. And that's a fair assessment. But I do want to show you this for a second, because I do think it's significant. I think it's important. When you look at this wide receiver core, especially Addison, Jefferson, and then of course in the tight ends with Hawkinson, and then they added Aaron Jones. This is all the passing game we're talking about. This team really is in a spot where they could go next level, and they could go nuclear with a lot of things. And I mean, they could be nuclear in the good way, how they're effective, or nuclear, how they could blow up. Now, the biggest issue for me is, who do they have at quarterback? So some people believe that Sam Darnold will be the answer. I do not understand how they think Sam Darnold will be the answer. Obviously, the Minnesota Vikings are surrounded by, and I'm going to get into some trade scenarios in a second, surrounded by trade scenarios to move up in the draft, up higher in the draft, because Sam Darnold is not the answer according to many people. But it depends. If you talk to certain Vikings fans, they think that for some reason that they're really good. He's really good, and he's going to, be rejuvenated in his career. I mean, surrounded by these weapons. Now we know, and the reason why I keep this website up for a little bit more is the defense was terrible last year. But what is not, in my opinion, terrible is it's not terrible. Their coaching staff. And I don't think their GM's terrible. I also think their defensive coordinator is very good as well. So as you can see, there have been some changes already to the linebacker core. They've already gotten 3 linebackers plus a tackle here. That this has a potential of turning things around if they play wisely, right? So really, when it comes to, not that they're home free, okay, but what I do want to say here is they're really just missing a quarterback. And I know that is the biggest and most important piece for sure. So don't get me wrong when I say this, okay? Don't get me wrong. But that's it. That's all they need. It's the biggest piece. I get it. 100%. But let's talk about the possibilities for them. Obviously, there's a possibility of going with Sam Darnold, but the more realistic possibility is that they're going to draft a quarterback. Now, just a reminder, if you haven't hit that follow button yet for the RevTrevNFL, I'm on X, which is Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. I'd love for you to take a moment to follow the channel, okay? Just follow the channels, I should say. Okay, so let's dive into these scenarios, and I want to show you this one first. And a lot of people are assuming that, and the rumors are swirling that they're trading up for, they're going to trade up for JJ McCarthy. So let's look at it. I think I got to go this way. There's a trade scenario here I saw by PFF, and that the Vikings are going to trade up. They're going to trade their 11th overall pick and their 23rd overall pick to get the 5th overall pick. Oh, and a 3rd round pick for next season. And then they would pick JJ McCarthy. They seem to be very, very big on JJ McCarthy. Now, is that the best option for them? Would you, as a Vikings fan, please post in the comments below that if you would do this deal, would you trade your 11th, your 23rd, and your 3rd rounder for next year to get JJ McCarthy right now? Now, this is the other thing. With that much draft, I think the Chargers would do that deal, just so you know. In fact, I think the Chargers, and my friend Peter Day, who's a huge Chargers fan, I should have got him on to talk about this offer, but I could imagine that he would love to trade back in the draft as a Chargers fan and get 11th and 23rd just alone. Like, done deal, enough said. We would love to do this because, I mean, they need so much help, right? They really do need so much help in the LA for their squad. I think they would do this. But would Vikings fans, would you do this? Now, I think if you're going to trade this much, these 3, that you should actually be trying to get up higher in the draft, like trading with Washington or trading with the New England Patriots, who might be still suitors. And then if that's the case, are you trying to get JJ, or would you want someone like Daniels or May instead? And that's what I want to hear from Vikings fans today, because Daniels and May could change your franchise. Is JJ? I just think every time I look at JJ McCarthy, I think of Zach Wilson. And it's not like he's put up huge numbers. I mean, he's been in a successful program. He's been surrounded by a lot of talent. So he'll be surrounded with offensive weapons in Minnesota. But do you think that JJ McCarthy is the real answer, or do you think he's the best of the next tier of quarterbacks? And so that's what I want to know from you. If I was the Chargers, I would do this deal in a heartbeat. If I was the Vikings, I wouldn't, because I think that at 11, you might still get JJ McCarthy. Like, I don't know how many teams are after him. Also, if you don't get JJ, and that's who you're targeting, okay, I think at 23, you could get Penix or who's the other guy? Jenkins? No, Nix. I think those guys would be a really good upgrade. And then when we go back to the, you know what I mean, like that's what I think. Is that right? Do I have those names right? I think I do. NFL draft quarterback rankings. Okay. So if we just quickly go to this rankings board, right? Of course, my internet just slows right down when I need it. Come on. It's probably because I'm streaming. Are you kidding me? All right, here we go. So we believe that Caleb Williams will be off the board. Probably Drake May, Daniels. If McCarthy goes off there, you got Bo Nix from Oregon, and you got Michael Penix Jr. from Washington. I think if you can land either one of these guys, you'd be pretty happy. And I don't think the downgrade, like PFF big board ranks, has McCarthy at 28th and on their big board, and Nix at 33, Penix Jr. at 46. So, like, you could get him later. I would gamble. I wouldn't give all of this up. Honestly, I would not give all this draft capital up to trade up to 5 to get McCarthy. That's my personal opinion. But if that's who you want, I mean, that's a lot to give up, don't you? I guess if you're right, you're right. I mean, if JJ McCarthy, it becomes like Brock Purdy and just rips it up. And we got to remember that Brock Purdy was the seventh, the last pick in the NFL draft, where we're talking about first round quarterbacks. Now, not every first round quarterback makes a huge difference. And so we have to remember that, right? We have to remind ourselves that it is not always in the best interest of the team to take so-and-so's quarterback. You have to think, can he play in this league? Does he have potential to be a Pro Bowler? Does he have a potential to be a Hall of Famer? Like, those are the questions you got to ask. And I know it's so hard to know. A lot of guys that you thought, oh, surefire picks. I mean, you look at the draft of Justin Fields here, right? You're talking first overall went Trevor Lawrence. He's been fine. He hasn't been phenomenal yet. Zach Wilson, huge bust. Trey Lance, huge bust. I mean, Justin Fields might be, well, I thought he was the second best quarterback in that draft anyways, but you're talking, I mean, he's second best, arguably the best. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't want to disrespect Trevor Lawrence. I think Trevor Lawrence is a much better quarterback than Justin Fields. But if Justin Fields revitalizes his career in the Steelers, and I call them the Steelers, giving up only a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields, could be the future of their franchise. I just think at the end of the day, nothing's a surefire pick in the first round. Like, May could flop. Daniels might flop. Or Daniels could be the next I don't know. Patrick Mahomes is kind of a little extreme, but like someone who's solid, right? Someone who's solid. You just can't, whatever you do, you just can't pick Mitch Trubisky, right? You just can't go and get Mitch Trubisky, right? You can't fail like that. And that's why a lot of people don't want May, because it's from the same North Carolina, and it just didn't work out. It gives you the EBGBs, right? And so that's the funny part. That is just the funny part of him being from North Carolina, and there's all those bad vibes, especially for Bears fans, right? So, yeah. So anyways, would you do this deal? Would you do a deal like this? I personally, if I'm the Vikings, I'm waiting to 11, hoping if you want JJ, that JJ will be there. If not, I want Nix or Penix, and depending on what. But if I'm trading up, I'm trying to trade up for Jaden Daniels from LSU. I think he's the real deal. Now, let's just say, for argument's sake, okay? Let's say for argument's sake, you trade up and you get a guy like Daniels. Is that, like, wouldn't Vikings fans be so excited if you got to 3rd? Like, if the first pick goes Caleb Williams, the second pick goes Drake May, and then you've got a chance to trade up with the New England Patriots and you can get Daniels, that's when I'm like, okay, it's time. go get him. But if you're waiting after that and you're going to go get JJ, I think you want to wait. That's just my personal opinion. But this team is loaded. Like like the real JJ, Justin Jefferson, you've got to make this guy happy. You've got to get a quarterback, or he's the promise, or he's going to leave. Like that's the biggest concern, wouldn't you think, as a Vikings fan? That's like, is he going to leave here? Because he just might. He just might. And that's the guy you want to pay. That's it. So what if the Vikings draft right? Maybe it's not JJ McCarthy, but it's Daniels, or it's Penix, or it's Penix Jr., or it's Bo Nix from Oregon. Like, what if one of those guys turns around? Because if they find a quarterback, now I've seen some people say, well, Sam Darnold should be they should let that young rookie just do the Green Bay style, let him sit for a year or 2 or 3, and have Sam Darnold. Listen, JJ, the real JJ Jefferson, does not want to wait. He does not want to wait, people. You need to understand this. He does not want to wait. I think if you're going to go Sam Darnold, I think he plays 4 to 5 games max, maybe 6, but I'm thinking 5 games max. And you're going to start the rookie, because you desperately need to win games, because this is a win now league. Most teams don't have the luxury to wait, not like Green Bay did, and thankfully they did. Tom Brady wasn't touted as the next greatest thing. He sat. You got Patrick Mahomes that even sat a year, and then his rookie season threw 50 touchdowns or something ridiculous like that, right? He probably could have started right away. But that's what you got to talk about here. Like, what's the plan? If the plan is to win now, you got to go get one of those top 3 quarterbacks. If the plan is to wait a bit or wait a season, then I think Nix or McCarthy or Penix Jr. are totally fine to wait for and get later. All right. Well, that's kind of what I was talking about, because I think if they get the right quarterback, this Vikings defense and offense could be very good and would surprise a lot of people. I think too many people are counting the Vikings out. They think they're going to win like 3 to 5 games. And I think if they get the right quarterback in, they might be surprising a lot of people, and they might even be pushing for a playoff spot. It's this whole what if scenario. And that's why I wanted to make this video tonight. Hope that you're doing well. Of course, hit that like and subscribe. Don't forget, everyone, don't forget to follow me on X, on YouTube, on TikTok, and on Facebook. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you coming out. I love talking about the NFL. Of course, I love talking about the Green Bay Packers, but I just wanted to step here and just connect with you guys, you girls, and say, hey, just some interesting things to think about. Absolutely interesting things to think about. So thanks for coming. And please watch the channel, because I think there's going to be lots more great content coming up soon. And yeah, hope that you're having a great weekend, Easter weekend, my favorite weekend of the year. But I'm so glad that you're able to check it out. So have a great day. And of course, go Pack, go. What now?
Oh,
Yes! Yes! Woo-hoo-hoo!
Green Bay, represent. There we go.